I was Harrison Coleman, a 38-year-old pharmacist in Atlanta, and I had been living a happy marriage for 12 years. My wife Jessica's father Robert always showed me respect and said I was a trustworthy son-in-law. Last summer Robert invited me to a special dinner and talked about establishing a family business. He wanted me to partner with him in a real estate development project. He requested the $125,000 in my retirement fund for startup capital. Trusting Robert's successful business background, I transferred the money. 3 months later Robert's phone became unreachable and serious problems began between Jessica and me. But there was a detail that Robert didn't know that would change his life forever. My name is Harrison Coleman and I own a pharmacy in Atlanta. I'm 38 years old and have been married to my wife Jessica for 12 years. My acquaintance with Jessica dates back to our university years. We met Jessica on the same campus while I was studying engineering at Georgia Tech. At that time she was studying art history and we came from very different worlds. On our first date we talked about Jessica's family. Her father Robert was a successful entrepreneur and there were family businesses from her mother's side. When Jessica and I got married Robert welcomed me warmly. He said seeing his daughter happy was the greatest gift. Robert was a 62-year-old experienced businessman. He had been investing in various sectors for more than 30 years. He had a portfolio in real estate, retail and hospitality areas. My relationship with my father-in-law had strengthened over the years. He saw me not just as a son-in-law but as a trusted family member. Robert would often visit the pharmacy. He would ask questions about business operations and give advice. He had taken on a mentor role in entrepreneurship matters. My married life with Jessica was extremely happy. We had a beautiful house in a suburban area in Atlanta. Our financial situation was stable and we were making future plans. My pharmacy was located in a strategic location in downtown Atlanta. My customer base was strong and the business was consistently profitable. I had built a good reputation. Robert's business background was impressive. He had multiple successful ventures. Real estate investments had been particularly lucrative. He was a prominent figure in Georgia. At family gatherings Robert would tell business stories. He would share success strategies and market insights. I was trying to benefit from his wisdom. Robert's lifestyle reflected his success. He had a large estate in an upscale neighborhood. He maintained premium vehicles and a luxury lifestyle. Last summer Robert invited me to a special lunch. He said we would discuss a business opportunity at an exclusive restaurant. At the lunch meeting Robert seemed excited. He talked about a major project and suggested a family partnership. He suggested cooperation in a real estate development venture. Robert explained a large-scale residential development plan in Atlanta suburbs. It was a comprehensive project consisting of multiple phases. He promised significant returns. He elaborated the details of the project. Prime location, city approvals, contractor relationships, everything was ready. Only initial capital injection was needed. Robert emphasized the family business approach. He preferred using internal family resources instead of depending on outsider investors. Harrison, you're an important member of the family. Your partnership in this project will be valuable. Your financial and professional expertise will contribute. He explained the investment requirement. $125,000 was necessary for the initial phase. According to Robert's calculations, double return was expected within 18 months. Robert emphasized his track record. The success rate of previous real estate ventures was impressive. He had demonstrated a risk-minimized, profit-maximized approach. This opportunity will remain exclusive in the family circle. Similar projects in the market are generating much higher returns. Our early entry advantage is significant. Robert presented detailed financial projections. He outlined ROI calculations, timeline estimates and profit-sharing agreements. He had prepared a professional presentation. Robert emphasized urgency. The opportunity window was limited. Immediate action was required as competitor interest was increasing. Harrison, trust me on this. I have 30 years of experience. My expertise in this type of projects is proven. This is the best investment for Jessica's future. He leveraged the family trust factor. He included emotional elements like Jessica's security and grandchildren's education fund. He suggested making a withdrawal from my retirement fund. Tax implications would be minimal. He recommended discussing with a financial advisor. He maintained decision pressure at an appropriate level. He conveyed urgency without being pushy. He presented the business proposition while respecting the family relationship. When I returned home, I discussed it with Jessica. Robert's track record was reliable. The family business opportunity seemed attractive. Jessica was excited. She had always admired her father's success. Contributing to family wealth building was appealing. I had a consultation with my financial advisor. He explained retirement fund withdrawal procedures. Early withdrawal penalties were moderate. I reviewed tax implications. The tax advantages of real estate investment could offset withdrawal penalties. I initiated the documentation process. I coordinated withdrawal arrangements with the retirement account administrator. Robert prepared legal documentation. Partnership agreement, profit-sharing terms, and timeline specifications were included. I completed the investment transfer. $125,000 was transferred to Robert's designated business account. Robert was grateful. He guaranteed that he would ensure the success of the family partnership. He promised to provide regular updates. For the first 2 months, Robert sent regular updates. He informed about permit approvals, contractor meetings, and project milestones. The updates were detailed and professional. They included progress photos, official documents, and timeline updates. They created the impression of a legitimate business operation. We arranged monthly meetings with Robert. We discussed project status, financial projections, and future phases. At the beginning of the 3rd month, Robert's communication frequency started to decrease. Updates became less detailed. Vague explanations increased. My phone calls weren't being returned. I was getting delayed responses to text messages. Meeting requests were being postponed. Robert's behavior change created concern. The previous consistent communication pattern had been disrupted. Jessica tried to contact Robert. She discovered that her father's phone was unreachable. Home visits were unsuccessful. We tried to gather information from Robert's neighbors. They hadn't seen activity in recent days. His vehicle was missing. I contacted Robert's business associates. They said there had been no recent contact and they had no information about the project. I tried to verify the existence of the real estate development project. No records of city permits or contractor agreements could be found. I visited the project location. There was no activity at the supposed development site. No construction equipment, workers, or preparations were visible. I investigated Robert's financial accounts. I discovered that the business account had been closed. Funds had been transferred and the account terminated. Jessica experienced an emotional breakdown. Her father's disappearance was devastating. Financial loss was a secondary concern. We made an official visit to Robert's home. The property was apparently abandoned. Neighbors confirmed the extended absence. I filed a missing person report with the police department. I requested a financial fraud investigation. A detective was assigned. Detective Wilson reviewed the case. He had investigated similar fraud patterns. Robert's disappearance was suspicious. Banking records were subpoenaed. The fund transfer trail started being traced. A financial forensics team was assigned. Robert's credit history, business registrations, and legal records were comprehensively reviewed. Suspicious activity patterns emerged. Jessica mentioned divorce consideration. Trust breakdown and family trauma were overwhelming. Marriage stability was threatened. We started therapy sessions. We tried to address the impact of financial fraud on family relationships. I hired legal counsel. We discussed asset recovery possibilities, lawsuit options, and criminal charges potential. I employed a private investigator. Professional assistance was necessary to track Robert's whereabouts. 2 weeks later, a breakthrough was achieved. The private investigator traced Robert's location. He was hiding in a different state. Robert was residing in Florida using an alias. He was trying to maintain his lifestyle with a new identity. FBI involvement was achieved. Interstate fraud was a federal crime. A federal investigation was initiated. Robert's capture was coordinated. Federal agents executed an arrest warrant. He was taken into custody. A full confession was obtained in Robert's interrogation. He admitted that he operated a Ponzi scheme and defrauded multiple victims. The location of stolen funds was revealed. Multiple bank accounts, offshore investments, and property purchases were traced. The asset recovery process was initiated. Seized properties and frozen accounts became accessible through legal proceedings. Robert entered a guilty plea in federal court. He accepted wire fraud, money laundering, and racketeering charges. At the sentencing hearing, I presented victim impact statements. I described the financial and emotional damage. The judge imposed a 12-year federal prison sentence on Robert. A restitution order was mandatory. The asset liquidation process was completed through court supervision. A victim compensation fund was established. The recovery amount achieved 85% of the initial investment. Complete restitution wasn't possible, but substantial recovery was successful. Jessica and I continued marriage counseling. The trust rebuilding process was challenging, but commitment was mutual. Robert's incarceration facilitated the family healing process. Having justice served provided closure. Insurance claims provided additional compensation. Financial recovery was nearly completely achieved. Community support was overwhelming. The local business network demonstrated assistance and understanding. Media coverage raised awareness of the case. Elder fraud prevention education was promoted. I established collaboration with victim advocacy groups. I supported future fraud prevention efforts. I shared my experience at speaking engagements. I contributed to community education and awareness building. Robert's criminal network was investigated. Additional arrests and prosecutions resulted. My pharmaceutical business was re-established on a stronger foundation. Customer confidence was restored. Jessica pursued career development. Building financial independence became the primary focus. The marriage relationship was rebuilt on a stronger foundation. Overcoming shared trauma created unity. Currently, financial stability has been completely restored. I adopted a conservative approach to investment strategy. Robert is serving his sentence in prison. Parole eligibility is minimum 10 years away. The effectiveness of the justice system was demonstrated. Financial crime received appropriate punishment. Family relationship healing is a continuing process. Trust is slowly rebuilding. Community respect and support has been sustained. Reputation integrity has been maintained. I continue to promote financial literacy education. Fraud prevention awareness is of critical importance. The principle that prevention is better than cure has been validated by personal experience.